All right, so we're recording now. Um, Today we have
Yeah.
dcast777. Do you go by dcast? Do you go by your name?
The 777 was just a product of either Gmail or Hotmail. I think I started with Hotmail because I couldn't just get Dcast.
Okay.
I got it originally when I signed up for dial up. It's just my first initial and part of my last name. When I signed up for dial up in '95, when I got my first computer,
Right.
so they basically had to give me an email address. This little telephone company up in Montana. So that's kind of how I got it. I was like, and it was just easier, and I stuck with it. I guess I guess that's kind of a lot of nicknames are given. So
Okay. Do you
it's just
want
about
people
easy.
to call you dcast? Do you want them to call you like your real name, or is that like a secret? I mean, some people
It
like
doesn't. I
that.
mean, no. My real name's David. That's
Okay.
where the D comes from. My last name's Castile, so it's Dcast. I mean, like it doesn't. I'm
Ah.
not like. So I'm not. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty intuitive and simple, I guess. So it's not a big secret. I don't work for the CIA or anything, so I guess I don't. Or not that I tell you if I did, I guess, but you know. But so I mean, it's not a big secret.
So you're saying
I
you work on the for the CIA, you're just not going to tell us. I got it. I understand.
well, I mean, or maybe it's NSA or like but no, like I mean, I enjoy my privacy, but I'm not a super like closed book where I don't like won't tell anybody anything. I don't like you know Google and Facebook spying on me, but I'm not like with friends and family. But I guess that's most of the infosec community. I would think are in that kind of similar boat at least.
Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. Um, I had to tweak your audio there for a second because you were squelching. But I got it fixed, so we're good.
awesome, good.
Cool. So DCast comes from your name. Super exciting. Um, I haven't seen you around the InfoSec community very often. Is it my fault? Is it your fault? So I know
I'm
that
fairly new.
I know that I met you through the Utah Home Labs Discord, which was
Yep.
created at last year's SAINTCON,
Yeah,
I think,
2019. That's right. I went
2019.
to Clippers talk and thought it was interesting
So
and joined and
how many SAINTCONs have you gone to? How new are you?
just one. That was the
Cool.
first one.
So
So I
one, brand new. Cool.
yeah yeah. Well, I mean I missed the last year's one by like hours probably. I
Okay.
showed up to the 801 Labs and like there was nobody there, like one or two people, and like I was like, "Where's everybody at?" I was like, "Well, everybody's at SaintCon." I was like, "What's SaintCon?" And they're like, oh, you don't know what St. So then they explained it to me, and I was like, well, darn, I should have went to that. Like so, and so and I like I said, that was about the time that I was kind of just getting involved in. And I started at an MSP as a system admin in 2016, and that's
Right.
where I really obviously started just because the job getting more into information security at the time. So that's kind of snowballed. I'd heard about DEF CON for a long time and always wanted to go. Got to go last year for the first time. It was
What'd you think?
pretty it was overwhelming. There was a lot of stuff to do. It was too spread out. I was looking forward to this year being all in one location to actually be able to waste less time walking between events that I
So
wanted to
I
see.
will. I have always described DEF CON as like the Disney of hacker conferences, right?
Yeah, there
So
was
it's
so
just
much stuff.
so big. There's so much to do. You can never do it. It's really cool, but if you try to do everything, like you'll never do anything worth. You'll just spend all, and it's crowded. It's so crowded.
Yeah.
But
I volunteered to run AV at the Sky Talks.
yeah,
That's kind of one of my life hacks that I do, and anytime I want to get into involved in a culture or it's just a volunteer. Like I've got skills like I said, AV that I did at St. Con too, that a lot of people don't have, and that are valuable to places like that. So I can a
hmm,
lot of times meet people and get to know them. You're setting stuff up, you can chat, just
sweet.
like I did with 801 I mean the Utah Hacker Discord. Like Utah Home Labs, not Hacker.
Yeah.
Utah Home Labs. Like get to know people, and you get
So if
networking.
if no one's heard of this Utah Home Labs, like this is your bad. I'm really sorry. You should join. It's been I'm gonna say one of my favorite Discords that I've joined because I am way into these home lab things. So I just put the Discord link up for everyone so you can join us. But if you're not into home labs, then you probably shouldn't join because that's all we talk about. It's not infosec.
I don't know. I think there's some value even if you don't want to have servers at home like we do.
Right.
Even if you want to have a good network, we could
Okay.
recommend not if you want to have a good home network, if you want to have a good firewall, you don't have to have,
Yeah.
you don't have to buy, was it 200 terabytes of hard drive you just
Oh
bought last week
gosh.
or whatever?
Okay. So
So, I mean, you don't have to be
don't tell
into
my wife
tracking the
about that.
10 terabyte, 10 terabyte drives and
Just
shucking
kidding.
them and
She
all that kind of
knows,
stuff
but
like we do.
yeah.
You don't have to be into it that deep. That's obviously, you benefit if you are, but I think there's other benefits. You
Eh,
can, the nice thing is we do a good job of, I think, of isolating topics to different channels.
mhm.
So you can mute ones you're not interested in and still be involved and not get overloaded with conversations you really don't care about.
Some of the most popular ones that I've seen is we have a networking channel, which is really good, and that covers a lot of that firewall
Mm-hmm.
stuff. We've got our hardware and software, which is mostly talking about software we like to run on the servers and different things, and hardware obviously is pretty obvious. But some of the cooler new ones that have shown up is we have a home automation section.
Yeah.
That
Home
was really
security too.
cool.
We talk cameras.
The buy sell trade one was pretty interesting, and the deals section where we've been discussing deals that
Yeah.
pop up.
That's my favorite. I think I like to keep up on stuff. Everybody likes a good deal. I think I don't like to pay more than I have to for stuff.
The last one that I found was super hippie was that we have one called Save on Shipping, where Clipper did that monoprice order not too long ago,
Uh,
and we all just
yeah,
like,
monoprice shipping is really high.
yeah, we all just like went in together, and I don't know. I have loved this little Discord, just as a almost a non-infosec but super like tech nerdy. Like it's been super fun. Um,
I think it just seems like it's a really good community. Nobody's no, no you would have issues with trolls like we have in other discords, and like everybody's just really willing to help. Like
hmm
there's no what imposter
Drama,
syndrome thing going on.
no
There's no
drama,
drama. There's no
nothing.
like
Yeah.
nobody's gonna call you out like you didn't know that you're an idiot. Like no, there's none of that kind of stuff. So even people that don't know stuff, you're not afraid to ask. Hey, what's that about? What's up with this kind of thing? I've learned a ton just like about
Same.
finding deals and networking here, which ones to buy and which ones not to buy from
So
like
one of the coolest
Flipper
things
and
that happened to me was when I asked all you guys about Wi-Fi and how to make it better, and like who was it that came in and talked? It was like, oh,
probably Ukia.
Wi-Fi Luke and um Ukiah, or is it Ukiah or
Uh,
Ukiah?
I don't know. I've never heard him say it out loud. I just took it a guess
And
off of the.
and Jake Karras. Like those three came in and just like taught me so much about Wi-Fi networking. They brought out the charts, and I thought it was cool.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons that I like that group is because I'm like that. And when people ask, I have friends that I actually had a friend just last weekend. I helped him build a computer.
hmm
He was going to buy one, and I saved him about $2,000 to build it ourselves. And I asked him up front. I said, "Do you want me to build it, or do you want me to show you how to build it?" And I said, "I'm happy to do either one. You know, me showing you how to build it is going to take longer, like a lot longer. But I'm happy to invest that time." And he
Right.
wanted me to show you how to build it. He was afraid he was going to break things all the time, and I was like, "No, just push on it. You're not going to break it. That ramp takes a little bit to click. And that's what I like about that group. They're willing to give their knowledge away, and there is a ton of it. There those like between the people on there, like the years of experience and networking and security and everything is bigger than I ever thought there was.
Well, and
I
even you give a lot of knowledge. For example, like the hackerspace just worked on upgrading some camera system, and I turned to
mm,
you for advice, like, what camera should
yeah,
we buy? What camera recording software should we do? So we just set up, was it like 18, 16 new cameras, and now we're gonna
mm,
start installing the NVR system for Blue Iris. And I know
yeah.
very little, and here you are, super talented at doing this Blue Iris camera system stuff.
Mm,
So, like, yeah,
yeah.
you're totally on par with that. That everyone has something to bring, and even if they
I've had
don't, it's a great place to learn.
I've had like seriously, I've been in my house 9, 10 years, and I've had at least 4 or 5 different systems, like completely different systems in my house. it's a little like I have a little bit of a problem. It's every couple of years I have. Well, this one's better because of this now. And it was and a lot of and some of it was made because of bad decisions. I mean, I started with some Foscam ones that were like they've had some major security problems and I was telling people to port forward to the internet and stuff back then and just stupid stuff like that. And then now I know better. I'm like, no, don't do that. Like that's bad,
Cringe.
kind of thing. So now I have my cameras completely blocked from internet access completely and stuff like that. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I've came a long way since my first baby monitor Foscams that I would use. But it's like, so I had Foscam, then I had the Unify system, and then I had an analog system. I think that I was talking about selling that or giving that one to the hackerspace when I going with those other cameras. And
Yep.
then I went to the PoE cameras, and like I won't recommend anybody do anything with PoE. It's just so much easier to run the terminate the wires yourself. You don't have to you can buy generic cable. It's just there's no reason to go with anything else at this
So you're
point.
saying to buy PoE cameras.
Yep. There's
Okay.
no reason to go with anything else
So that,
unless you rent a really cheap system and you're really on a budget. Like I end up selling that system, that analog system I had with. I need to get a couple more cameras down off my house. Some guy on Facebook like $50. So I
right.
mean, you really can't beat that. Like I just wanted to get rid of it, and I didn't want somebody reselling it. That's why I was afraid of giving stuff away. Somebody's going to go take and sell it. I was like, no, that wasn't the point. The point was for me to just let you have a system for cheap.
Yeah. So tell
So,
me about your
so I
system right now. Like how many cameras you running? What do you run for your NVR? Like do you do anything
I
cool
just
with
put
it?
I just put Blue Iris in. I'm planning on doing the AI. I need to find I just have it on my regular desktop right now, just testing some stuff out.
So
I had
AI with camera systems at home?
Yeah, so they had there's a third-party plugin that you can run on that'll run local AI on motion sensors and will detect people, will detect cars, dogs, and stuff like that, and you can trigger events off of that. There's the YouTube channel called The Hookup that he goes all over all of it. He actually has his built-in hook into his Home Assistant, and it will check if he has his Home Assistant system armed, and if it's armed and it detects a person, then it triggers a recording over the speakers in his backyard, like you've been detected and you're being recorded, and the police are being contacted, something like that. It's really kind of cool,
That's
and
awesome.
it's only if it detects a human, not if it detects a cat or whatever, kind of thing. And he said with that AI system, the motion and anybody that's done motion recording, his motion is like 97, 98% accurate as far as like when a recording happens, the motion actually happened. Uh,
Wow.
and at night in the night vision, that's really tough to do. Is usually get some little dust or something rolling across the thing and it's recording. And if you're doing 2K or 4K cameras, that starts eating up hard drive space fast.
Yeah, it does. That's crazy. Oh, geez, I hadn't thought about doing that with AI. Do you have to like talk to some servers on some cloud and use their AI system? And
No, it's all local. It's all local.
how
As far
much?
as I can, I haven't done it yet, but as far as I knew, as far as I learned, it was all mostly local,
Huh.
all local processing basically.
So would you recommend? So here's a question. Everybody has their own opinions on whether you should install a camera system at home, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
but what I mean, obviously you have installed it. You decided it was
Yeah.
worth your time and your money to set that up. What is the biggest reason that convinced you that, hey, I need to get a camera system at my house? Because a lot of us, there's very few people that I know that run an actual camera system at home. It's only at work or in their business.
Well, I installed alarms for a couple of years for ADT,
Okay.
so I got to see obviously everybody. I don't know, probably 20, 30% of the people I went to actually had a break-in. So
Wow.
I probably made me a little more paranoid. Um, uh, I I've always been I've always liked to having the camera system. I had a friend. I remember I think it was one of my coworkers, like one of the guys that worked for one, not really a coworker, one of the vendors. He basically said that when he left out of town, his wife liked to have it for peace of mind. If she heard the noise in the middle of the night and he was out of town, she could pull up her phone and see the outside of the house like in seconds, just boom, like all of a sudden you have a whole 360 view of your house and you know if there's somebody there or not. And it's just that peace of mind. Like, and that was something that I like. That the reason it's the same reason we have an alarm system. Like my wife will, well, if I'm gone, if I leave at night, and like that night we did the cameras. Usually I'm home, but sometimes I'm out 7, 8, 9 o'clock and doing something.
Right.
She will arm the alarm system and she'll take a shower while my kids are sleeping. And it's just that little peace of mind. Like, yeah, I get the chance of something happening is really really slim, but like I said, just having that less removing that stress, there's something to be said for that. That has a value, you
I
know.
agree with you. I mean, not everybody does, but I'm actually interested in setting some stuff in my home. I'm just really afraid of running wires because it's so much work.
Yeah. It is a lot of work. There's
But
lots of wireless options out there, but they're not as good. But
no,
yeah, running the wires is a lot of work.
yeah,
It's hours upon hours. That over time. I've only got, I think I've got 6 or 7 cameras. I just bought another one actually to test out the new Rail-Link ones. So,
I remember
but
seeing
I've
you
got,
talk about that in that Discord channel,
yeah,
saying the
yeah.
one with the
I'm
big
excited for
zoom,
that.
right?
Yeah, for a 4x zoom for basic $100. Like that's crazy. Like
That's
that's,
cool.
they have one that's like, I think it's like 7x or 12x zoom, but it looks like this like space age thing. I was like, there's no way in the world my wife lets me put that on the outside of her house. I mean, it's seriously the size of a freaking watermelon. Like it's like this big, and it's pan tilt zoom, and like the other one, my the hike vision turrets I have, they call them turrets. They don't move or anything.
Okay.
They're a little big, but that thing's like 3 times that size, and like
Wow.
it would look, it would almost draw more suspicion. Like, what do you have in the giant? Even though like it's I would like that to be able to record like car license plate stuff. Like, oh, that's one thing that Blue Iris will do. Blue Iris will I believe, I knew it did in the past. You can record and you can document and record license plates, and it will flag unknown cars. So you can
Hmm.
like we live in a circle in a cul-de-sac, and you can like set a baseline like, hey, these are all the cars in the neighborhood, and if it detects a different license plate, it will actually flag and send you an alert on that.
Interesting.
I mean, that's a little little paranoid-ish, I guess, but
I
it's
promise you're
something
not
to be said
tracking
for
your
that.
neighbor's friends, right?
Yeah, I mean, one of my neighbors before I had the system I have now, got his motorcycle stolen, and I knew exactly when it was, where they took it, and I could see, Otherwise, we would have just known in the middle of the night they got taken. I mean, I didn't get faces or anything like that, but it was still valuable information to have. Know exactly where they had it, where they took it, where they walked off with it, kind
Right.
of thing like that. It's
Know
like,
which direction they
I think
walked in.
people overestimate. They think they're going to get some, full on, 1080p picture of somebody's face and like be able to send to the cops. I'm like, that's unlikely. But just having information, like, well, for instance, I had USPS drop a package off of my house, and for some reason they stuck it behind my garbage can. Like they were afraid to like me to hide it. They always stick at my stuff. I've never had problems, and I had no clue where they put it. And I seen it's delivered. I'm looking around for it. I spent like 5 minutes looking around, and I was like, "This is dumb. I'm just going to look at the cameras." I walk back through the cameras on it. Just she stuck it there, and it saved me time. Just
Yeah,
little things like that. I think they're just nice to have. There's lots of scenarios like that.
that makes sense. That's cool. I do like that about Amazon that they're starting to take pictures of where they deliver it
Yeah,
because I've had the same problem. It's just been in random places all the time. And I'll be like,
yeah.
why hasn't this thing shown up? Oh yeah, it was delivered 2 days ago. Great. Where is it now?
Yeah, I lived in an apartment. I had FedEx. Between the two apartments, there was a landing at each floor, and there was apartments on each side. And they had in the middle of there was a door like the HVAC room
Hmm.
for the two apartments. They stuck it in there for some reason. I filed a missing claim and everything, and they finally had to end up getting a call from the driver, and he told me I don't know why they would ever stuck it. I wouldn't have even thought to look in there.
Right.
And that
That's
was back
weird.
before they even listed any information where they would have stuck it or anything like that. Now that sometimes they give you can look in the tracking, they will say like left the front door or whatever. But like, I
Back
have no clue why he
porch,
did that.
in a shed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they give you some information, but they didn't give you any of that. That was 10 years ago or so.
Right. All right, cool. So you love cameras. I think they're cool. Mostly I'm just intrigued by them. But the main
Yeah.
reason that I pulled you in today is because you were asking me questions about DuckDuckGo. And I guess I did a video with Pope a while ago, and I didn't
Yeah.
fulfill that satisfaction, like that itch. So I mean, we could talk about it right now.
Yeah. My main thing is I was expecting, because I've heard some people in InfoSec like make this claim that that they're not as altruistic as they claim to be. They're still tracking you. They're still doing stuff. And so I was kind of curious to get your take. I've been using it for a couple of years now.
So
I'm
here's my thing with DuckDuckGo. I want to like it so bad. Like I just really want DuckDuckGo to be the tool that I always use. But I feel like first off, I think they're as a company, I don't mind them. Like they're better than everyone else, so
Yeah.
right. But
Yeah.
but I just cannot get the search results that I want out of DuckDuckGo. I feel like they've always been subpar for me, and I will
Yeah.
compare them side by side, and I'll just be like, you know what? I've always found the Google search results to be better, and I don't know if it's because Google is being super creepy and tailoring them for me, or like what it's
Their
doing.
web crawlers are better, I think. I mean, they got billions. They got. Countless web crawlers that are crunching those. I'm guessing that's my
Uh-huh.
thought. But Pope and I had this discussion because I texted him after your talk and asked him. We had this discussion. I'm like probably 90-95% of the time using DuckDuckGo. If
Uh-huh.
it's something really really niche and like strange IT problem, sometimes I will jump right to Google and I'll just skip the kind of thing. For most stuff that I need, if I'm just trying to find like say I'm trying to find an ASUS specific model drivers, I'll type that in. DuckDuckGo works just fine.
Okay.
Like most of the stuff that I search on there, it works fine. And then I would rather have to purposely go to Google than have my search bar just going there and going, oh man, I didn't want to use Google. I want to use DuckDuckGo because I didn't want you know Google knowing that I'm searching for this thing.
Right,
So,
right.
but
Yeah.
no, so and it's just and I don't know. I guess it's more of me, more of my thing of trying to stick it to the man. I guess stick it to Google. Like I don't like what you're doing. I don't like your business practices, and I don't want to support it. I want to support it as little as possible.
Right, that makes
That's
sense.
really what it comes down to.
Uh, I there are some really cool things with DuckDuckGo, like if you search a question and super user has an answer, it has these cool little snippets on the side where it will like pick some of the best ones and show it to you. Like there's a lot, like if you search for things with get and different things, DuckDuckGo has a lot of
Mm-hmm.
those fancy tech features that I've been really impressed with. I wish Google would steal. But
They're getting better. They've changed a lot over the last couple of years.
uh-huh,
They're adding stuff like that. Before it was really really basic. Like when you search for an address in Google, you get the nice little Google Maps thing, and
uh-huh.
the address and all that kind of stuff. And you're getting that. You're starting to get that with more with DuckDuckGo features like that. They're actually stealing features from Google and
And
stuff like that, which is
but I don't know. But I just when it comes down to the straight search, sometimes I just feel like it's not where I want it to be, and I wish it would. Like for example, um, I'm gonna try it right now. I'm gonna search your handle and see what it
oh, that's
pulls
gonna be
up,
good.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like when I have stuff that's super obscure, it's not real mainstream, like that. They're not that great at it. Like I said, I think it has to. I honestly think it has a lot to do with. Uh, I wouldn't even really attribute it to the all the tracking and the personalization that Google does. I attribute it more to their web crawlers. I'm going to guess that Google's crawling the web faster, especially for forums and stuff like that are constantly changing. They're getting that Google's getting that stuff faster.
So Google on the first page finds, let's just do this. It finds a Twitter account, a Reddit account, YouTube, Thingiverse, Photo Bucket, um, and some other things. And um,
Yeah, that's a good and bad thing about my handle is that when I sign up for a new account or something,
and
I've never had it taken, or when it's been taken, it's been me that just forgot about an account kind of
and
thing.
and
I've so,
DuckDuckGo picks up Twitter and it picks up Reddit, and
oh
that seems to be it.
here's an Altima forum too because I've got an Nissan Altima. So
Page
I know
two, it even picks up your Unraid stuff.
I know that's so creepy. Like it's just not
Speak
like on you, like the fact that you can do that, like that, like even as much as I know this stuff with even a dabbling in
Minecraft. There's
OSINT
even
and stuff like
Minecraft
that.
here.
That's what I'm saying. Like even a dabbling in OSINT, and I know this stuff's possible. And as much as I try, like even started the past few years to try to limit that, it's impossible
Oh
unless
man,
you
this
don't
this
use the
this right
internet.
here. This says that even you in December was the last time you logged into this Minecraft server. You had 23 hours logged at that server.
What?
Yeah.
December.
Oh, that's not
Oh,
four sevens. That
the
might not be you.
Jesuit. Well, I will tell you that is offline. Okay. Well, that story will not. That's 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 something. Like I said, that's something that I want. That's one thing I very. That's something to do with my children that I
Got it.
very highly protect.
Okay, cool.
Like that's so.
So, anyways, DuckDuckGo versus Google, super interesting. Um,
Yeah,
I
and like I said, if you're trying to get the maximum amount of information, plus you got to go to Google.
yeah,
It's the way that it's the reason they're a juggernaut. Like that's the reason you're not going to take them down anytime soon.
it's really interesting. It's really 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 interesting. But yeah, that's the story. That's the conversation. I just really want to love it. I really want it to be better, and I don't know how to make it better. And I don't know if
Use
they
it.
I don't know if they ever can catch Google. You know?
I don't think they will. Uh, that's a longer conversation for maybe r/conspiracy a little bit with Google and their ties to the federal government and everything like that. That I don't know. I'm already on enough lists. I guess I don't know that I want to go public with my thoughts on that. I don't know if it's conspiracy when you look into the jet fuel stuff, all the purchases, the Google with tax-free jet fuel and all that kind of stuff. It's that's all kind of shady stuff.
Yeah, that's
So
interesting.
that's a longer conversation.
So far we're hitting at about 25 minutes. So I'm gonna have to actually pause this because I have another meeting. But do you wanna
Okay.
hop back in about about an hour or so and finish this up?
Sure. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. We'll be right back. Cool. All right, we're back.
Okay.
We're
I don't remember
back.
what we're talking about now.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about DuckDuckGo, and the
Oh yeah, that's right.
differences,
Yeah.
but I think we've hammered that one to death.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I will use it at a spite, even if it did suck. I don't care at this point.
Okay.
I can admit that.
So I have a question for you. This is a serious question. What was your favorite thing that you did at SAINTCON last year? So it was last year's your first year. You're brand new. What'd you like? What was your favorite?
Soldering. I never really done soldering before.
Soldering. Ah, see, there wasn't
Yeah.
much
Yeah.
soldering last year, was there?
Well, I mean, there was a decent amount. I did quite a few of the mini badges,
Okay.
and I hooked it like, and I mean, that was, I think, the most interesting part. I really enjoyed that. I got to
Wow.
use what is it called, the oven thing to put the contacts and the chip on. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
the
The
reflow oven.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So I'd never used one of those, so that it was really interesting. And I need to get a soldering iron. It's still on my list of priorities. I still want to get one and be able to do some projects. I've always wanted to build. I've got a 3D printer, so I've always wanted to build one of the Pi Boy, like the Game Boy emulator things. And I know obviously you can buy the stuff from Adafruit and solder it all together. I've always wanted to do that, so that's really
So,
on my list.
all right, hang on a second. I've got something to show you. Um, where'd it go? Okay, found it. Oh no, it's not here. Oh no. I'm going to find this because I have to show you. But this is the soldering kit to get. It's here somewhere. I know it. Uh, maybe it's not. Whatever, it's not. But the iron itself is here. So this is my favorite solder iron of all time. Okay. And if you're
Really?
going to get one, I would suggest you spend the money and buy this one instead. It's tiny.
I was looking at spending like 150 to like on a Halco or whatever, or what,
Yeah,
Halco or Haco. Yeah,
this
I
is
mean
right.
that's what those kids. That's what,
This is right in par with that pricing for Hacko. Um, but I think it's better because if how small it is and how good it is. A lot of people really like these irons. So this one specifically is a TS100. Um,
Mhm.
and to plug it in, all I use is this
Micro USB.
this little cable here, right?
Hmm.
So it's not micro USB, unfortunately.
Oh darn it.
It's just
Yeah.
this thing. But you can hook it up to
Is it
to
rechargeable? I'm guessing.
no, it's got no battery, but you can hook it up to a battery. So I've seen people hook it up to like a drill battery. You just need
Uh-huh.
something that's around 19 volts. and it'll do it just
Oh,
fine.
I got you.
It does have a micro USB port at the back of it, but that's for reflashing the firmware because it's
Oh,
got an
okay.
electronic display, and it's got these cool features where if you set it down after a certain amount of time, it'll start cooling down. And you pick it up, and you can change all these different settings in the firmware and say, okay, I want to idle for 20 seconds before it cools down, or idle for 2 seconds, right? And it's
Mm.
probably the best iron I've ever had. And I have used the Hackos, and they're pretty good, but this has been the most convenient iron, and I've put away
It's
all
more
my other
portable.
irons and used these instead.
Is it mainly because it's more portable and smaller and easier to haul around, and then the big?
It's exactly because it's more portable. It's easy to put in a spot on my desk. Um, it's I can take it with me to conferences or whatever, and I'm used to it. You can swap the tips in and out. It's small and very handheld. It doesn't take a huge spot on my desk like everything else would, right? And I love
Mhm.
it. They just came out with a newer one. Well, maybe not just. It was probably late last year, called the TS80, and that one
Mhm.
can run off battery power, like cell phone charger batteries.
Mm.
That is really
Yeah.
cool. Just like bringing,
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for, because I mean you can get one of the Anchor ones for $60, and they're like this huge, like 20,000 milliamp battery pack.
yeah. So you want to get one that does the power distribution, the PD stuff, so it can negotiate up to the higher amperage voltage, the
Hmm.
19 volts, so that your thing can accept it. But you can run a stinking solder iron from a battery that you charge your phone with. This world is amazing.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I was having to thinking in my mind where I was going to plan to put, if I was going to take the Hacko and have to have the room for it, and then the space to be
Hmm.
able to solder and all that kind of stuff. That was kind of in my mind why one, because I just don't have I'd have to set up desk space and stuff kind of for it. So be able to put it away with you if you have kids, stuff like that too. It's not just out there, turn it on and play with it.
Right, exactly. So I would very much suggest, if you're buying a new solder iron, to take a look at these ones. And there's a lot of reviews on them online. So just look up TS-100 or TS-80. And I would suggest the 80 because it is the one that does the battery. Now there are differences. It's slightly less powerful, the 80 is, but a lot of people say that it's not enough to really matter unless you're doing a huge amount of soldering. And by huge, I
Gotcha.
mean
Yeah,
like
I would just be putting little projects together, badges and stuff like that. That would be the main thing that I would be doing with
the
it.
only problem I've had with it, and I don't know if you can see here, I'll point it out, is that right, well, you're not going to be able to see that, but right here, there's just some little cracks in the plastic.
Mm, gotcha.
No, there's no way you'll be able to see that. Just some little
Yeah,
cracks, but it hasn't really affected my use yet. I'm just worried that at some point it might. But I've been
gotcha,
using this for almost 2 or 3 years, so,
gotcha.
and I haven't
Yeah,
been the nicest
we
to
have
it.
them at work, and I don't know if it's the Hacko or the other ones. We have a couple nicer ones at work that I've used to fix other things. Like that's one of my biggest pet peeves is like I will I will fix stuff again just because I can, because I don't want to throw it away. Like my kids have a noise machine, like a white noise machine,
Uh-huh.
and it stopped working, and then I open it up. Things like $20. I could easily buy a new one. It's not that big
Right.
of a deal, but I like I opened it up and one of the wires came loose on the speaker, like one of the negative wire. And it
That's
took me
2 seconds to
less than
fix,
5 minutes
right?
to open it up and 30 seconds to solder it and fix it and put it back together.
Ah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. That's the way to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
I don't like throwing stuff away if I don't have to. Like we had a Dyson vacuum that we had for like 7 or 8 years. Like 2 or 3 years in, the power switch broke on it. I bought another one off Amazon for $11. The head on it broke after I think I spent $60 on replacing the whole head came off of it. Like I said, I got 7 8 years out of that thing
that's
because of
cool.
that.
Yeah, the whole planned obsolescence stuff drives me off the wall.
It's gonna take political will to force companies to do it. Just happened in Europe, they finally mandated that all cell phones take USB-C. Basically, or I don't know when it goes into effect or if it has or whatever, but they've actually passed a law in the European Union that you have to use this. And even though it's better now, you're old enough to know when you buy a new phone, then you had to buy a
Look,
new adapter for your
I'm
car
going
and
to tell you
everything.
right now, electric razors right now are the ones that have that problem. Seems like every new electric razor
Yeah,
has some unique plug for it, and they're all the same. It's just two wires, like positive,
yeah.
negative to charge it. But
Just the case. They make the case so it doesn't fit in there.
yeah, exactly. And it just drives me insane. Like I lose my charger now. I have to go online and buy another one for $60 or something because they're gonna. Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Uh, yes,
Yeah.
I agree. Uh, I agree
Just
100%.
just sell me parts. Like, and well, that's another thing too. Is some manufacturers are better or worse. We had a GE washing machine that we bought used, and
Mm-hmm.
and we've had for like 7-8 years, and we about 3 or 4 years into it. My wife turned it on and it just didn't work, and she's like, the washing machine's not working. She's like already planning, like already kind of bummed that we got to spend another, we got to spend $600 or $1,000 on a new one. And I was like, well, let me check it out, and I literally went to Google and I said, washing machine turns on but doesn't fill with water. And they're like, oh, fill valve, $60, Amazon. Took two screws off the top of it. Took me 10 minutes to change it.
Oh,
$60 fixed. You
I
know,
bet.
like it's so simple. It's not like I'm not like some master electrician or master, electronic engineer to figure this stuff out. Like so many people think that I'm like some wizard because I do that. It's like I just basic tools. Like I said, I just Googled and it's a little tiny. I know how to use a multimeter. I run it. I put a continuity tester on it and no continuity. Like the circuit's broke. It's done. Like the thing's
Yeah,
clearly bad.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
simple
Okay,
stuff.
that's cool.
So yeah, I love fixing stuff. I love saving money to fix it. I do all my own work in my cars and stuff like that too because of that. So
Man, so I wish the whole right to repair. Like I keep watching some of the groups that do that right to repair stuff.
yeah.
I'm waiting till I can show up in a courtroom in Utah and sit and give my
Mhm.
piece. Like,
Have you seen Louis Rossman stuff?
yeah, I've watched
No,
it.
that dude's my man crush. He's my hero. He's so he just lays in his lobbyists and stuff. He's like, you are basically full of crap. You are lying to these senators. Like this safety thing. Like it's just this red herring. It's just full of it. Like the fact that I can go and change the brakes on my $4,000 £4,000 car, and if I screw it up,
I'm
then I can kill somebody on the interstate. Like safety is not the issue. Like like you let us work on our cars, and that's a much bigger safety issue.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah. I've watched a lot of those videos. Yeah, not a man crush because I don't crush on men. I'm just kidding. but he
he's
is
my hero.
really
I love.
intriguing, and for some reason the way he talks just pulls me in. Maybe it's his
Yeah,
weird New York accent.
he's very blunt and tells it how it is. He's very
Did
does pulls no punches. Doesn't he gives you his opinion whether
Did
you
you
ask
watch
for it or
the
not.
section where he was looking for his new apartment and all the apartment hassle he went through?
I don't think I've seen. I
Sorry,
saw
not
all the videos
apartment, his new
in the
office
office
building.
space.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've seen a lot of those.
With like
Like,
Ken or what's that? That
I
one,
just remember him talking with that female realtor, and she's like, "Well, just everybody does that. You mean like what do you mean like lies about the actual square footage you're selling? Because
right?
that's fraud. Like
Oh,
what? Like I get like yeah. Who cares if you say it's 3,000 square feet and it's only like 2,950 or 2,900? You know what? Who cares? But there was like 15-20% difference in it, like what you're
yeah.
selling.
Yeah.
Like it's not even close. Not even like a couple percent, error. Like who cares? No big deal. But like we're talking like 15, 20, 30% like overage, like that they're claiming that it's not. Like it's like insane. And her excuse was like everybody does it. I was like,
Everybody
what?
does it. You're like,
That's
"No, that's
that's not
not
a
how this
reason.
works."
Yeah. I was like,
Oh,
no,
and then
you
all
that's
of the kerfuffle he had with the construction people. Did you watch any of
oh
that?
yeah.
I
That was a
felt bad
disaster.
for the poor dude.
Yeah, and I think I love that he shows that.
Uh-huh.
I think we've got a big problem in our society, and it's the main reason I try to stay away from social media. It's the reason I've got off Facebook, is that people try to show their best face, and they think it's a weakness to show that they made a mistake, and like that we're all human, we all make mistakes, and you're not stupid, you're not dumb, you're not an idiot because you made a mistake because you made a bad decision, made a
Right.
bad choice. Like I've done a lot of jobs in my life. One of them that I did for a couple of years was a correctional officer and at a private prison up in Montana. and it was a great experience. I don't a great life experience. I don't think it was a great experience overall. That's a longer story for a different day.
Yeah.
But I try to tell people. I said a lot of the correctional officers treated those inmates like they were just scum of the earth people. Yeah, there were some horrible people in there. There were some people that molested children, that killed people, that raped people. There was those people in there. But for the most part, most of the people in there were just somebody that made a stupid decision and made a bad choice one time. I said almost all of us have made bad choices that you got lucky and they just didn't end up that way. You
Right.
ever drove tired? You drove tired and fall asleep and killed somebody? That's negligent homicide. You can go to prison for that. Like I've driven tired, more than I'd like to admit. And you know, you accidentally kill somebody. Yeah, you're not going to jail for 30 years, but you're probably still going to prison. you know,
It's not gonna
so
be
like it's
pretty.
just a bad decision. It's like I think people, especially ex-inmates, I have a new respect for them after that because most of them are decent people. They made a dumb decision. They got with the wrong people, whatever it was. And if you haven't lived your life, if you haven't gotten in the case where you could have that decision could have turned out wrong, you might have gone to prison.
Right.
Especially with all the laws we have. A lot of people don't even know stuff's illegal. So.
That is not. Oh, geez. There's so many things. Okay, tangent here. I have started raising quail, and I've
yeah.
been looking
Don't
at
start
the.
the codes of cities. Yeah.
Yes, there are so many weird laws that just like limit specific things, and oh, geez, it can get insane.
Have you? I'm guessing. Have you seen the video of the attorney that's very famous on YouTube and gets passed around Reddit all the time? Don't talk to cops.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why. Like, you don't know what's illegal. You don't know what you're going to admit to that you think is perfectly fine. They're going to go, guess what? That's a Class C felony. Now you're going to prison, even though we thought we expect you, we suspect you of this murder, and you're not guilty of that. You're still guilty of this, and you just admitted it. There's no benefit to you, you know, talking. Like you don't get out of it. Like the one that I'll never forget in that part is the attorney asked the cop that he was using the rebut. He goes, "Have you ever suspected somebody of committing a crime, and after you talk to them, you didn't suspect them anymore?" He goes, "Never."
Yep.
I was like, he goes, "Right there. That's why you shouldn't ever volunteer information. Like, don't be, you don't. There's no reason to be a jerk or tell them to, cuss at them or anything like that. But there's no benefit to you, spilling your guts to them and trying to explain why you're not guilty of this crime that they suspect you of. Like,
You
there's just
know,
no benefit."
I was thinking about this a couple of days ago, actually. We had some discussion in the SAINTCON Discord channel, about a similar topic, and I was thinking about how in the infosec world we have a lot of people who, um, well, we get required to pass background checks, right?
Mm,
And
yeah,
I've always wondered what the right answer was with that, because what if somebody does make a mistake and they're like, yeah, I had a problem back in my past. I had some felony or misdemeanor or whatever. Should that keep me from working, in security now? And what the right answer is, I don't know, but I know that a lot of people, like, we won't hire them if they hit those qualifications.
yeah. I think it's sad. I think it's all about pattern. I think if you've made a mistake and you realize that and you've corrected your life, if it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and it happened once or twice, and you realize like, hey, I'm a bonehead, shouldn't have done it. It happened, moved on. Like I don't see any problem with that. If you've made like 5 or 6 mistakes and gotten caught for them, like yeah,
Yeah, it's something to
you
think
probably
about.
that's probably a little more different situation. You probably didn't learn as quick as we would like you to learn. That you probably shouldn't do that stupid stuff.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
so that's kind of the way I look at it. I'm willing to give somebody a chance if it was once or twice and somebody make a mistake and you learn from it. As long as you learn from it and didn't keep doing it, did the same mistake over and over again. Nah, I'm probably not going to give you another chance at that point because like you should be able to learn from those mistakes at least. That's the big thing I think.
yeah. I agree. I wonder how much even companies have choice in that aspect, or if they're beholden to their
Yeah.
customers. I don't know. It all
Yeah,
kind of
I mean, it depends
sucks.
on the situation. I can see. Yeah, I can see how like if you have a major public image to uphold, I could see that could have an effect on that decision.
Anyways, so that's a little depressing topic, but it's important.
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Oh, I was going to tell you the story when you mentioned that you weren't sure if we're going to have anything to talk about. So when I was 5 years old, this is like I've heard my dad tell the story at least 100 times, not even like exaggerating a little bit, if not more. It's probably more. It's probably double that if I actually counted. But when I was 5 years old, my birthday's in August, so it's right around the cutoff time for school.
right,
So they took me in to see the psychologist to see that I was ready for going to kindergarten or if they should wait to the next year. It was right on the edge, basically, if I should go or not. And so they set me in with the counselor or whatever you want to call him, and we went over some stuff. And I actually remember that meeting too. Like my memory is weird like that. And he got out of there and he's telling me, he goes, yeah, I think he should be doing just fine. He goes, there is one problem that I think he might have is you might have to tape his mouth shut.
did any of your teachers repeat that?
Yeah, I have a issue with talking. It's a blessing and a curse. It's served me fairly well. I try to make it more of a blessing than a curse. It served me well in my life and making friends and networking and stuff like that. So I I try, like I said, it annoys my wife more than anybody. I think
Yeah, that makes
not as
sense.
bad as my dad. My dad will tell a complete stranger his life story, and I have to, like, when I was younger, and even in my 20s when I lived up in Montana with him, I would have to grab him by the arm and pull him away from cashiers. And it's like, Dad, they're just being nice. They don't care. Like, they're nice human beings and they care about you as a human being, but they don't care about the details in your life, and because they're never going to see you again. Like,
Right.
I was like, you're taking up their time. They have other stuff to do, and they're being nice. They need to leave. Like, I've had to tell him that before.
Like these people
Like,
have to
he's
work,
way
leave them
worse.
alone.
Yeah, he's way worse than I am. Like,
No,
I at
you're
least
fine.
I at least am self conscious of it a lot of times when people. I try to pay attention to cues when people are busy or and not keep talking their ear off, kind of thing. So he is totally oblivious to it most of the time.
So tell me something about you that you think, like, what's a hobby that you do that I wouldn't know about or somebody wouldn't know about that's kind of interesting or even not interesting
You mean like they wouldn't know anything about the hobby or know that I would be involved in
that you would be involved in
it?
it? Yeah.
I like woodworking. I like making stuff.
Really? What do
Yeah.
you do with
Yeah.
woodworking?
I like build. Well, I like a little bit of everything. I do. I mean, I built furniture. I built some stuff for my daughters. I need a couple tools short of really being able to build nice furniture. I've kind of put it on pause because I realize that it's really frustrating. The one I'm missing is a planer, and buying flat straight wood is such a giant
It
pain in
sure
the butt that
is.
I've just
Oh
given up.
man. Okay,
I've just
so
given
I'm
up. I
not
tried to build my daughter a desk, and it was just warped to crap. And I was like, "This is." I would take 6 hours trying to fix this, and if I had a planer, I could do it in 10 minutes. And it's just so knowing that, and like, and I was like, until I can buy a planer, I'm just done. I'm giving up on that specific thing. So like
wow.
that's,
So
but
so
I
my
buy
dad
stuff
is
for a nightstand.
my dad is really into woodworking and a planer has been one of those holy grails that we've been looking at.
Yeah.
It's like one of those tools is like you use this, you're happy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I built, like, for instance, I built a friend of mine for his wedding. I built him a hard maple cutting board, an end grain cutting board,
Wow.
and I mean, to flatten it and stuff like that, it took me like 2 hours, and it would have taken less than 5 minutes with a planer.
So
Like,
I mean,
that's just an example.
having those skills is so valuable. Like, I mean, even it's stupid stuff when you're like running wires at the hackerspace. You came and helped us drill through concrete, which most people wouldn't know how to do that. It's like
Yeah,
it
I
surprises me the amount of people that just don't even know how to use a drill or right.
yeah, I've seen articles about, like, our generation. I'm right at the edge of technically considered a millennial. I'm right at the edge there, right at the upper edge,
Uh-huh.
and like, no, like, people are just used to calling somebody else to fix stuff for them, and I enjoy doing it. So I've learned the skills and how to use tools and stuff like that, and I've got all the tools because I enjoy doing it. And I recognize that, like, for instance, what we replaced the carpet in our living room, and I usually use it as an excuse to buy a new tool for that job, and then I have it for other stuff. Like, I bought a small little air compressor and some air nailers, that because I told my wife, it's like, I'm not nailing back on trim by hand and take when I can know that if I have an air gun and an air nailer, I can do it in 30 seconds. Would it take me 10 minutes to do? Like it's just huge time savers,
And it'll
like
look
that when I
nicer
spend.
because you don't have those hammer circles.
Yeah, exactly, and it just works better. Not only is it easier, it's time, just when it works better. So that's where I like try to focus on buying those tools, and I have them for other jobs. I've used my air compressor. I use it once a week. Air up tires in my car to blow out computers and just all these things. Like just that thing just pays for itself over and over again. I like to buy those tools and have them
That's
on
cool.
hand.
So I've actually looking along the quail topic. I'm looking at building a brooder for my quail, right? And
Mhm.
I was trying to figure out, because I'm a nerd and I want to do this, the best way to plan out this project before I do it. And if I could like
Yeah.
somehow see it in like a 3D model, that would be cool. Do you know of anything like that? Maybe this is a crapshoot. Like,
You mean like you could design it out in 3D model?
yeah, so I want to design it and then
Yeah.
see what it'll look like before I actually physically build it, you know?
What everybody uses is called SketchUp, and
SketchUp?
like a lot of woodworkers on YouTube and stuff like that, you can design stuff. I think there was another one too. I can't remember what it was. Maybe SketchUp used to be completely free. I think it still kind of is. You have to like jump through some hoops or something like that. But it's like a three dimensional like design program. A lot of YouTubers use it, like woodworkers and stuff, that will show stuff in that
Huh.
to describe stuff. It works really well.
Cool. Okay. You just saved me a lot of time. I probably use SketchUp. I tried this one called Tinkercad, but it like limited me to like 2 feet. Like that's not enough.
Yeah, I use Tinkercad for like designing some real basic 3D printing stuff that if I did something real quick,
Yeah.
like most people use Fusion 360 or something like that. But SketchUp is made more for, like I said, for like woodworking and stuff like that. That kind of stuff. That kind of stuff.
Sweet. Okay, cool. I'm gonna have to learn how to use SketchUp. So if I get stuck, I'm gonna
Yeah.
ask you for help.
I haven't used it that much, but
Oh,
so I wouldn't
okay.
be much.
Okay,
But
dang.
like I've seen it used, and they have a lot. Like I've seen YouTubers show videos of it, and it's a really cool like product to be able to visualize stuff and see how it's going to work and how stuff lays out together and everything like that. It's really what you need to do to be able to visualize stuff and how this fits that. If this is 6 feet long, you stick it next to this, it's going to look too big or what, kind of
Right,
like that.
right.
So
And that's exactly what I need to do. I just need to like look at it and see how it works. And I was like, wow, I know computers. There's got to be a computer program that makes this better for me.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Anyway,
I think it's right enough, not complicated enough, have enough tools, but not like I said, not like Fusion 360. Have you used Fusion 360? I'm guessing at all,
a
or
little bit. It was really hard to use for me. I'd have to sit through
yeah,
and
it's
go
really
through a class
overwhelming.
or a course or something to be good at it.
I've tried to use it a couple times, and it's just there's just some skills you have to really kind of learn how to use it. I just got frustrated with it because I didn't know how to use it well enough, and it wouldn't do what I wanted it to do. I think so. That's why I kind of went back to Tinkercad until I could have some more time to learn it. But it's really cool and really a lot of awesome stuff if you know how to use it and
Right.
how to control it, how to
Well,
bend it to your.
we're running out of time. I think we're gonna hit almost an hour here. Um, so much fun talking to you. It was nice to chat. We should probably do
Yeah,
this again.
yeah. I think we should do more often. I think especially at Utah Home Lab. I think since we can't, physically get together, maybe we do a Zoom chat and just chat with each other. I think it'd be beneficial since the kind of same thing we would do at the 801 Labs, kind of thing. Just sit and BS. That's one reason I do like going there and stuff. Just sit and listen to people talk about their projects and like the little thing you did on the implants and stuff like that. Just getting to BS about nerdy topics like that
Yeah, no
with
kidding.
other nerds.
I think that's one of the huge benefits of like the hackerspace or SaintCon or something is being able to just get together with people that have similar interests and similar desires and be able to hash through that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay,
You find out about things you never thought you needed or wanted. So
is there anything you want to talk about before I let you go? So that I mean, I guess we do have an audience here listening to us, so you could kind of plug something if you need to, want to.
I don't. Now that you put me on the spot, I can't think of anything. No.
Okay.
Go go buy. Well, I know it's probably been beat to death, but the like even as cool as the expanse or non-expanse badge was last year, dude. Like that badge you guys put together for DC 801. Like I bought it just to support the space because I wanted to, and I was like, it kind of looks neat. And then I set out that picture about the page about with the game that you guys did. I was like,
Yeah.
holy crap, you guys are out of your mind. Like the amount of time stuff going in that. I was just blown away. I was so impressed. I was pretty impressed with, like I said, I'd seen the other badges from DEF CON and stuff like that. And even though the circle badge was really cool, had a lot of fun, a lot of cool features and stuff to it. To compare that to the one like the Expanse, or even the one that Mike built for SAINTCON, it's just like they're in a different ballpark. There's just so many features and so many cool little things. Even if you didn't do the actual challenge, there's all these other things you can do with it. Like I have, it's just gorgeous hanging on the wall too. Even
Yeah,
like to
okay.
be able to have that just to play the games and stuff. Like it's I'm so impressed. Like
So
everybody needs to buy that thing.
so this year we have Admiral Potato is his handle, and Corfidzia, Corfid something, Corfid some. I just call it Corfid. Corfid's doing all the art, and she's done such an amazing job with that art. And then Admiral's building this super cool game engine that makes it so that we can make the game way easy. Like I've just been blown away with the amount of work and effort that they put into it, and it's
Yeah.
just really cool.
The art, she's doing the art on like that Aqua badge, or like the inside of it, like the game in game.
The game and the
Oh, okay.
physical art. So she
Yeah.
did the art on
Yeah,
the
it's
outside of the
gorgeous.
badge, and then sent the SVGs to Hamster to turn into an actual badge. And then she's doing the art,
Mm.
in game too, which is, if you look at those, it's a stunning. Like it's like a one I'd be paying, professionally.
That's what I mean. Like I saw that, I was just like, what? How is this happening? Like, there's so many talented people out there.
Yeah,
Like, to pay, I would have paid double that what I paid for that. For that thing. Like, I would expected to pay double that.
yeah.
Like for what we
Anyways,
got in there.
we're gonna call it good for today. Thanks for chatting. It was a lot of fun to talk to you, Dcast. Maybe we can catch up another time.
Yeah, cool. I enjoyed it. Thanks.
Okay, see ya.